I'm going to be showing instrumentation for the Nevi 4 and the adaptation. The Nevi 4 can be used as a universal instrument. It has two cutting edges on each end, adapts just very similarly to your 204S. Although when we look at it, it does have a complex shank. It doesn't have as emphasized of a bend at that distal. It has a little bit more curve. We still get our terminal in. When we adapt, we're going to start at our get ready zone at that distal facial line angle. You'll be able to see as I go into the interproximal, demonstrate how that terminal end straight up and down parallel with that long axis of the tooth. This long slender tip will adapt interproximally really well. Make sure you keep it adapted, that 1 to 2 millimeters adapted to the tooth. After we've instrumented interproximally, we will drop the handle, use an oblique stroke on that facial. Again, this is a sickle, so we're going to be using this primarily on a supragingival aspect. You can see our vertical stroke there at the mesial as we came around that line angle. Moving to the next tooth, we'll start at that get ready zone, rotating all the way around the tooth, keeping that tip adapted, backing out, using our oblique stroke on the facial, coming into that interproximal, starting at that distal, oblique stroke on the facial, and interproximal, a vertical stroke. This will show how we automatically could transition into the anterior. For this arch, start at the midline of the anterior tooth and that sextant. Remember our anterior cross. This adapts very similarly like your 11-12 Explorer. You will come across and really rotate and adapt that tip into that interproximal area. And we'll rotate all the way across the sextant, getting each tooth in that distal aspect. The nice thing to finish instrumentation on this arch, you can actually take and you will flip to the opposite end. We go to that most posterior tooth, and we can adapt at that distal line angle, coming into that interproximal, dropping our handle on the facial surface, coming into the mesial for our vertical stroke, facial oblique, and back into our interproximal. And then once we finish that sextant, we can adapt all the way, the rest of the way across. You will move towards you, rotate. I am using an opposite arch fulcrum for this. At this point, it's more for demonstration purposes. You would try to fulcrum on the tooth as close as you could get for your instrumentation, keeping out of the line of fire. And you'll finish your towards surfaces if you're right-handed. If you're left-handed, this would be your away surfaces. That